Hello, my name is Bogdan Dovhany, and today I would like to introduce to you my new package which is available at AppExchange, which is called Bulk Objects and Field Levels Permissions Manager. So let's discuss a use case first. So let's assume you are building some media application or content management application or books storage application or movies rental app, whatever app that requires several custom object or standard object and requires granting permissions to several custom or standard profiles and custom or standard permission sets. So let's discuss some exact case. For example, you have two custom objects, precisely book and movie, and you have two custom profiles which we call content manager user and media administrator, and you have one custom permission set which is called content manager. And let's assume that you would like to grant access to modify all and create both of these objects to both of these profiles and to permission set. There is no option available at Salesforce Setup Console, neither in Salesforce Classic or in Lightning Experience, which allows you to bulk edit or grant or remove access at object or field level. So in this case, you would have to go to each profile and click checkbox on each profile for object and for fields, for separate page on one object and separate page for another object. And basically you need to visit approximately 8 pages or even 9 pages, and you need to click checkbox on all of these pages, which is quite a nasty job, and it's also time consuming. So imagine if you could instead go to one single place where you could manage all the object level permissions or all the field level permissions. And here I would like to show you my package. So how you could use this? For this case, first of all, you can go to the default page. Actually, my package is very simple and it has one application which contains from two tabs only. One tab is designed for granting or removing access for object level permissions, and another page is designed to modify field level permissions. So let's discuss the object level permissions first. So let's select two custom objects. You can use search to find movie and to find, you can select in the list another object, and you can select some handy filters and checkboxes to cut down your selections in profiles or permission sets list. For example, you can filter all the profiles or permission sets to certain user profile license, for example Salesforce platform, or for example Salesforce, or you can select any permission set license, which might be handy. Also, you can use this checkbox. Why do you need to use this checkbox? Assume if you would like to set settings for standard user and system administrator, then you will not be able to select any options because you cannot modify object level permissions for standard profiles. Also, you cannot modify object level permissions to any profiles or permission sets which belong to the third-party managed packages. So it's wise to exclude those options from your view to see the options that you can modify. You can use Ctrl A or Command A shortcut to select all of the possible options. Now, once we made decision about which objects we would like to set permissions for and to which profiles or permission sets, we can go and configure the object level permissions. So if we want to grant the maximum possible permissions, modify all and create permissions, then we can click on the modify all header checkbox for the book object and for the movie object, which automatically clicks and checks all the necessary secondary permissions like view all, read, update, edit, delete permissions. Also, we need to click on the create checkbox separately because it's not included in modify all permissions. Now we can just click save and see the 6 records were successfully updated. We can go ahead and verify that those settings has been applied. We can see that on first profile, which is called Content Manager User, the settings were just applied. And also for another profile, which is Media Administrator. You need just to refresh the page to see this settings applied. And the same for Content Manager Permission Set. You can go ahead and see that object level permission modify all and create was applied for books and to movies. Also, we can just see that on the movies or okay, let's now go ahead and configure the field level permissions settings. For this, we need to go to the second tab, Bulk Field Permissions Manager, and we need to select again Book and Movies object. So you can use Command or Control A shortcut to select all the fields. You can use the handy checkboxes and Control A or Command A to select all the necessary profiles and permission sets. And finally, we can click on the Update checkbox for the permissions sets and to the profiles, which automatically checks all the related checkbox for every field for every profile. And now we can click button save and see that 48 records were successfully updated. So we can go ahead and check it here. You can notice that every checkbox has been checked, except those which belong to standard fields or to required fields. For example, on book object, we have book name standard field, created by standard field, last modified by owner standard field, and we have publisher field. So we can go at the book and check that publisher field is required, which means we cannot set permissions set to this field. And also we can verify that for Content Manager user profiles, all the checkbox on movie has been set. And the same for another profile. For Media Administrator profile, we need just to refresh the page, see that every checkbox has been checked for the book and for the movie object. And the same for the permission set and the book object and permission set and the movie object. So now we can discuss how can we remove access from the objects. It's also easy. You can just go ahead and uncheck the read checkbox, which also unchecks the update checkbox. If you check it at the level of profile, it automatically unchecks all the checkboxes related to every field. Now we can click Save to see the message that 48 records were successfully updated. Now we can go ahead and verify that every access to field level security is removed now from Content Manager permission set to both objects and to Media Administrator profile, to one and other object, and to Content Manager user profile, to one and another object. Now let's refresh the page to return back to Bulk Objects Permissions Manager and select again Book and Movie object and all the custom permissions sets and profiles. And now we can unclick the read permissions, which automatically unchecks the modify all and view all permissions. Also, we would need to uncheck the create, update, and delete permissions to remove them all. And click Save. Now we can see the message that 6 records were successfully updated, and we can go ahead and verify it. So we can see now that for Content Manager permission set, access to books has been removed, and the same for movies. No access to movies. And we can then go to profile level, verify that there is no access to Media Administrator profile, and there is no access to Content Manager user. It can be also used to set up some permissions to standard objects. For example, you would like to grant access to account and contact objects to, for example, to Media Administrator. You can see that those are already included, but modify all permissions has not been checked. So you can check modify all permission and click Save. Now you can see the 2 records were successfully updated. So I encourage you to try and install my package and use it. It's free. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.